Transport Line, the program that showcases the contributions for all modes of transportation to the socio-economic growth and development of our country, Africa, and the rest of the world. Transport Line is being beamed to you from the Center of Excellence, the state of aquatic splendor, and Africa's second largest economy, Lagos. I am Shina Ilegbede. Glad to know that you are keeping us company. In continuation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 2 years in office, our focus on the transportation sector today is on the blue economy. That is, you recall, we started last week with the sky blue economy, that is aviation and aerospace development. But on this episode, our focus on the marine and blue economy. That ministry, of all ministries that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu established, has attracted many fora, symposia, town halls meetings. But where has it taken us to? Well, we soon get to know, because I have with me in the studio a maritime consultant, university lecturer, and of course, a great stakeholder when you talk about the maritime sector in Nigeria. I'm referring to Dr. Charles Okorefe. Charles, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me here, sir.
2 years in office, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, though the ministry serves not up to 2 years. But from your own estimation, assessment, where are we now and where are we going?
Thank you for that question. Where are we? Where are we going? Well, if you ask my candid opinion as to where we are with that ministry and its offerings, I will tell you I'm not exactly sure of where we are, because this is a ministry that is midwifing a sector that is very robust, or supposed to be so, with a lot of offerings in terms of marine resources, aquatic resources, when you talk of fisheries and aquaculture, biodiversity, and so on and so forth. You know, the truth is that I believe we are just scratching the surface yet as to why that ministry was established. Because I'm aware that it was only about 2 weeks ago that the ministry brought out what they called a policy statement or direction. We have been clamoring for a roadmap for that ministry. So, fair enough, the blueprint is out, the policy is out. The question is the implementation, as is always the case in Nigeria. So, talking about where we are going, let us see where that policy will take us in the course of time.
Charles, before we take the view of where the policy will take us, 1 year plus now, what impact really has the ministry, that's marine and blue economy, has on the socio-economic life of Nigerians?
I cannot really lay my hands on anything of such, because if you look at the sector in a holistic manner, you find out that a lot remains to be done, charting the way for that ministry, for the industry. A lot needs to be done, because don't forget, whatever we are doing in this ministry is predicated on the Millennium Development Goal number 14, which deals with life underwater. You know, sustainable use of our ocean and water resources, marine resources, while at the same time sustaining the livelihoods, the ecosystem, to avoid damage and all of that. You know, we look at, for instance, the area of marine tourism. Where are we? What are the blueprints? What are the things that have been laid down to achieve that aspect of the industry. I have not seen any. How about fisheries, aquaculture? I know the minister talked about setting up 5 different projects, to drive that aspect of the economy, the blue economy, but we are also yet to see it come to pass. Not to talk of the area of renewable energy, cable laying and all of that. These are things that are still astounding as far as that ministry's mandate is concerned. So I cannot really say we have done much, or they have done much.
Dr. Charles Okorefe, I think probably we should take a cursory look at the various major government agencies under this particular Marine and Blue Economy Ministry. You look at NIMASA, you look at MPA, you look at Shippers Council, and of course, NEWA. Shippers Council. No, let's start with the flagship, NIMASA. You look at NIMASA, well, I give it to them. We've been clamoring for the disbursement of CVFF. And in the last decade, there has not been a real positive drive to say that, yes, we are going to do something. But they've come out to say, come August, we do it. And they've come out the blueprint, the modalities to be done. What is your view on this?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I still have my reservations with regards to the CVFF disbursement, because it has been a mantra of every NIMASA DG that comes on board, and even ministers of transport, as they used to be. But I think this is like the boldest move ever, by any of the ministers or DGs of NIMASA, that came on board, because this time around, we are looking at timelines, unlike before, where they just mouth it and propagate it without taking any action. So let us wait and see. That is the only thing I'm going to say about that. Let's wait. August is just here. But some of the requirements which the agency is looking at with the disbursement agenda is something that the ship owners are not happy with, talking about 90 days wait and all of that, knowing that shipping is something that is an urgent enterprise. Sometimes you are doing a bidding within a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it is done. So talking about waiting for 90 days is something that they also have to tinker with. Otherwise, I will give it to NIMASA, just like you have said. I mean, taking the bold move this time around to give timelines regarding the disbursements of the funds. Let us also assume also that the funds are still there.
The but there now is that, like you said, the ship owners are not comfortable as regards the period for repayment and what have you. But that one is a bold step. The other one aspect has to do with what NIMASA has done in terms of security along the Gulf of Guinea. And Nigeria is seeking election to the category C of IMO. How do you see us going far on this?
Anyway, we have been perpetual candidates for the category C at IMO.
Since the days of Dr. Adedosu.
A very long time ago, So I believe the first thing that we need to do is to put our house in order.
How?
Because they said charity begins at home. We still have a lot of contending issues here, locally, that we need to deal with. Yes, NIMASA has been maybe using the instrumentality of the the Deep Blue project, to
Deep
launch
sea,
to launch against the piracy and all of that.
On the Gulf of Guinea.
Yes, that is commendable, So anyway, I think this time around, I only just want to wish them luck, because we have tried and failed severally. So I believe this time around, they could just be lucky. But it needs a lot of lobbying,
Yes.
for you to get to that position. So they also have to put their machineries in motion, to woo such countries that can assist them with the votes.
Yes, they've been doing that. I think the last effort, when you talk about diplomacy for IMO election, was with Tanzania.
Yeah.
How far that will assist us, time will tell.
It's yet to be seen.
Also, you have the issue of seafarers. See, when you're talking about election into the IMO category C. Ditto, another albatross of NIMASA, which one will have expected that we will have found solution to, is the issue of floating dock.
Pierre, I want to recurse to the issue of the floating dock
Good, okay.
by
NIMASA.
NIMASA. Yeah, because that thing has become like a huge albatross. As we speak, I cannot even tell you where that floating dock is located. It's somewhere around, generating losses instead of revenue. And that is something that this government needs to look
Address.
critically into, especially our minister. Because don't forget that that floating dock was built purposely for the Nigerian Maritime University, Okerenkuku. Yes, for those who don't know. And ordinarily, there is a place that has been created around that university to house that floating dock for activities to take place for students, cadets, to do their training, and at the same time generating revenue
By repairing
for the
ships.
federal government, yes. But as we speak, that is not happening. And nobody seems to understand, maybe apart from the people in the massa, what is happening to that floating dock.
NPA, yes, custom is underneath Ministry of Finance, but majority of the activities are based
The port, yeah.
at the ports, especially Apapa and Tinkan Island ports. How do you see the last performance in terms of services, revenue generation, and ease of doing business, and other issues?
Now, coming to NPA, the blue economy, one of the standpoints is development of maritime resources, and this includes ports. You will find out that most of our ports are dilapidated. They are going down. If you look at like the key apron in the Tinkan Island port,
Yes.
which was collapsing, a lot of moves have been made, statements as to revamping it and all of that. But the process is slow. And the same thing with our other ports. I think order can be restored, through those ports, so that other agencies of government like the customs you mentioned can function effectively, so that their work can flow. Okay? NPA is generating a lot of revenue. So I don't know why percentages of that cannot be channeled to revamping the ports. Our ports needs to be modernized, just like we have in Lekki Deep-Sea Port.
Yeah, that
which
one's going
is
to be dredged now.
Yes, so that meters in depth, and that is what we need to do. Capital dredging for those that need to be dredged. The Warri Port Constellation, for instance, we have the issue of the Escravos bar that prevents bigger vessels from getting into Warri Port and other neighboring ports. So these are issues that needs to be addressed, and all this falls squarely within the parameters of the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. So there's a lot that needs to be done in that regard.
Charles, let's quickly look at Nigeria Shippers Council and, of course, the crying baby of the Marine and Blue Economic Agency. I'm referring to NIWA. Shippers Council, the issue now is that they are trying to make sure that we have good activities in terms of financial returns for shippers. And again, they are now crying and looking at the issue of Coast Guard. What do you think?
Well, this issue of Coast Guard is a very controversial one. It depends on which side of the divide you stand. I listened to an interview by a retired naval admiral, who was vehemently against the idea because he said that would be like duplicating
The
the
service
role
of the Nigerian
of
Navy.
the Nigerian Navy because they are saddled with, maintaining security along our waterways or across our waterways.
International waterways.
Waterways. So they look at this issue of a coast guard as an overlap, which tends to impinge on their own sphere of influence. Why others are saying we need coast guards, for purpose of maybe commercial, taking care of commercial security for commercial vessels and all of that coming into our waters or trading across our waters. Personally, I don't have a view because both ways, the way things happen in Nigeria, it could be that those propagating it, they have their own interests, which they want to protect. I don't know. But the Nigerian Navy, if they lack equipment or whatever it is that is making them not to function well, especially in the area of crude oil theft and all that, they can be strengthened so that they can carry out their function properly. Because when you talk of Coast Guard, you are talking of deploying resources, financial resources, human resources, and all that infrastructure and all of that, and they cost money. And the government will always tell you there is no money. So these are the contending issues that have to be trashed out.
Before we leave the Shippers Council, the issue of terminal operators is still there in terms of renewal of contracts, the conditions to be met. And how do you see it? Because when this issue came in, when we brought in the terminal operators, I think 2006 or about that period, major stakeholders' inputs were not sought. And that was by President Obasanjo's government.
Yeah.
Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is there, and I think we don't want to do things through fiat. We want to get the best out of it. So how do we go about it?
You've said it all. When you don't carry stakeholders along in critical decision making, what you get is chaos, because at the end of the day, these are the people who have been on ground, who have paid their dues, who understand how the system works and will give their candid advice, as to how things should go. So I think going forward, this time around, major stakeholders should be carried along so that decisions that will be arrived at will be such that can drive the industry forward. Like the chaotic situation that you are talking about now. So I think it is fair, only fair for the government to seek opinion of stakeholders, carry them along, and get the best results.
Charles, before the curtain is drawn on this particular episode, I call it the whipping baby of Nigerian Marine and Blue Economy Ministry. I'm referring to NIWA, National Inland Waterways Authority. And either they are talking about getting rid of wooden boats or distributing life jackets, but the real issues confronting that particular inland waterways transportation have not been tackled. What do you think?
Well, it's a long-drawn issue. Now, you look at the rivers Niger and Benue, which are supposed to be major trading arteries, between the northern parts, the middle belt, and the southern fringes where you have the ports. But over the years, what we have is siltation, whereby boats, even local ones, are not able to access some
Even
of these areas.
Maro, very near them.
So these are the things that needs to be tackled.
Baru, yes.
Baru,
yes.
Yes, the port at Baru is just a port in name. You understand? These are areas that the NIWA ought to come in and demonstrate, their strength. Then also talking about safety on our inland waterways. There's also a kind of like a daisical attitude, if you ask me, because
there is.
a lot of users of our inland waterways, they are not safety conscious.
Yeah, pirates are attacking them left, right, and center.
every time, you know, and there is no security, there is no safety. There used to be a company, Niger Benue Trading Company, that used to utilize that River Niger and Benue to move goods. But over time, because of problems of attacks, siltation, and blockade of the waterways, they had to fizzle out of business. You know, so also others. You know, so NIWA has to step up his game. I understand a few days ago the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy came to Lagos and was distributing
life jackets.
Life jackets. I think his mandate goes beyond that. You know, there are the deeper issues that have to be looked into. Most of the communities, riverine communities, they don't even have jetties, functional jetties. And this is supposed to be one of the major mandates of NIWA. You know, they're talking about sailing boats at the hours they are not supposed to sail. You see, if you go to even Lagos Lagoon, you see that wooden boats, fiber boats, they will be sailing at night without the illumination and all of that.
Use lamps.
So these are the things that NIWA should concentrate on, you know, doing. Safety, security on our inland waterways is key. But there's a lot of, you know, like a daisical attitude in getting all these things put in place.
Yes, like I used to say, I think on the issue of many boat mishaps along the inland waterways across Nigeria, except few cases in Lagos, I advise that people should come to Lagos, look at LASRA template and improve on it so that we get a better, well-coordinated inland waterway safety across the country.
All right.
Charles, the Marine and Blue Economy Ministry is the only one that we heard that the minister have signed performance bond with the various heads of agencies. 2 years down the line, what is your assessment and what should be done?
It's one thing to sign a performance bond, it's another thing to actualize the contents of what is in that bond. You see, I cannot tell you that since signing of that bond, things have been working differently. Things have not changed. It's still the same old story. You know, in my own assessment, the performance bond is not what should be uppermost. Give us the blueprint. Give us the roadmap that this ministry will follow. Most of the people in these parastatals, they are civil servants. They will work like civil servants. Where are the professionals that have been carried along, you know, to determine the way forward for this ministry? There's a lacuna there. And I think that is why things have not moved the way they ought to move.
Well, Dr. Charles Okorefe, maritime consultant, university lecturer, author, and a big player as far as Nigerian maritime sector is concerned. I want to appreciate you for coming on board.
Thank you.
To assist in a series of looking at 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration in terms of transportation sector.
Thank you.
We hope we continue to get the benefit of your God-given knowledge, intelligence, and wisdom. Thank you very much for finding time.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Well, that's it. We had Sky Blue Economy. Today we discuss Deep Blue Economy. Next week, we shall be looking at the road transportation aspect of 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. But before then, please continue to be your brother's keeper. Irrespective of what is being said here and there, times are still hard. Be compassionate. Be your brother's keeper. That way, the society will be better for all of us. Till next time, bye-bye for now.